Ready or Not emerged as the spiritual successor to SWAT 4 in 2021 by Void Interactive, offering the fresh breath of life the tactical shooter community had been waiting for, with modernized controls while still maintaining the same meticulous attention to detail that made SWAT 4 a classic. It exposes a chilling, gut-wrenching world, supported by ominous world storytelling and immersed design that could send shivers down your spine. Ready or Not stands as one of the most unsettling yet brilliantly crafted tactical shooters I have ever experienced. The deeper I delved into the lore, the more unnerving it became. This is Ready or Not. This is the second part of the full series deep dive, so make sure you watch the first part after this. But with all that being said, I want to welcome you to Los Sueños.
Worms writhing around in the mud. We just dig and dig and dig, blindly seeking resources to keep the cycle repeating. But change is coming.
Officer down! Down on your knee! Go shoot!
The next mission is Ides of March, which is the occasion where Julius Caesar was assassinated. This takes place in a penthouse, and we encounter a new group named the Left Behind. These are a group of delusional angry veterans who have formed a domestic terrorist group. They have taken hostages and plan an assassination. The target is Senator Fremont, who is proposing a bill which would severely harm veteran funding. This includes hospital bills, mobility, household support, etc. With the rising of poverty and a lack of work ethic in Los Sueños, this bill passing would destroy these people's lives, so they've took it into their own hands to change it. These men are heavily armed with body armor, ARs and light machine guns. They also have prosthetic limbs. Up until this point, we haven't come across anyone this well geared up. 6 casualties have already been taken prior to our arrival, including a senator who is in critical condition. We get a call from a standby saying,
"We need the police. I'm at Memorial Park. Someone just shot Senator Fremont." Okay.
our objectives are to locate 2 sniper rifles, find the music producer, and a retired Navy officer. And we are notified there are traps scattered around the map once again.
Suspects are heavily barricaded, may have planted traps in multiple areas on site.
So I insist that you check every door. It caught me off guard too many times. The Left Behind is a tragic group. Their actions are wrong, however, in their positions, you understand their actions and anger. What they want is justice. Upon entry, we have 2 doors in front. The second door occasionally has a trap, possibly ending your run insanely quick. There are many rooms that you can tackle, so diversity of your attack plan is abundant. Be wary, however, since each run has a slight map change. Certain doors may be open with suspects ready to engage. Clearing safety with a squad is ideal. Another thing about this game which I loved, it made me learn basic CQB. I learned how to pie scan a room with just my friend, but the game also allows you to do this with your AI team. The game wants you to be methodical and tactical, not like you're playing Call of Duty. It is easy to mistake this game as a military-ish simulation, since the operations you take on are far above the pay grade of a SWAT police enforcer, but that's due to the situation Los Sueños is in, forcing these underpaid and undertrained policemen for situations that usually would be tackled by a more federal team or even military. Be wary as there are often a patrol of 1 or 2 vets along the hallway, so make sure you have your eyes front, back and both sides. The choice is yours, but there are 4 main apartment rooms and a central bar main room, which resides in the centre of the map, usually containing a few suspects and civs, but it is an easy flanking spot for both you and suspects. I usually wedge the doors to this room after I've cleared it, to stop any suspects from running through it and flanking me from behind or hiding away. Room 1204 in particular trips me up, as there's so many enemies that could be hiding behind things. It seems like each major room consistently has suspects inside. Within room 1201 and 204, you'll find 2 sniper rifles, in which one has already been shot by the bullet cracking the glass. Scattered across the rooms, you'll see the same signs found outside Brixley's Talent Time, Vet Build. These are the vigilantes taking it into their own hands. They are super stacked with weapons and loads of caches everywhere in both rooms. You'll also find injured civilians around the map. Room 1201 connects into 1202, which may contain the music producer. Be wary, as the outdoor section can be shot through by suspects outside, and the doors can be trapped, leaving you in the dodgy situation of either fighting through limited visual cover or trying to disarm a trap while being shot at. Room 1204 is similar to the other two, as it connects with room 1203, where you'll find a retired Navy officer with a very cool room. Finally, you have the central room, with a lot of room to cover and to get shot at, so take it carefully. Ides of March shows us a confliction between two bads. The left behind are wrong in their actions, but it is understandable why they take such drastic measures. It makes us think. Sinuous Trail is following off 23 megabytes a second, and has similarities with Brixley Talent Time's discoveries. If we go back, we will remember Michael Williams' chat logs stated a certain company, Mindjot, who have been selling these private servers for these people to discuss this awful stuff without getting into any problems. Mindjot is a data storage facility, which was found as the distributor of the illicit content by scrubbed IDs. Our goal here is to take on the hired security guard in this place, and they are rampant. And it is important to note that the business is going under, with technology going down shown by blue screens around the gaff, meaning if there's money to get, then they'll surely take it. Upon entry into the waiting room, you may encounter suspects right off the bat. In this map, there are a lot of crossing open doors and holes, so it's important to flashbang big rooms and clear every small room before continuing. You then have 4 entrances. Behind the desk, you can find a poster saying that there has been fake police coming in. Civilians and suspects also talk about robberies occurring often in this building by people who are dressed as police, which actually took lives, which explains such high usage of guns. On the computer, you can also see an article talking about the Michael Williams situation. With loads of off rooms to clear, you'll come across 2 storage rooms, 1 minor and 1 major server room, which links back to the private servers they've been handing out to these people, such as William. The goal is simple: to put down the operation of Mindjot and seize it, putting an end to Michael's acquaintance connections to these servers, perhaps. You may also find some people either outside or on top of the rooftops, but other than that, it's a lot of gunfighting. Ends of the Earth is a quick small map, but the story behind it is depressing and local, an issue some people may unfortunately relate to. This is the Tran residence. Our suspects are 3 brothers, An Tran, Tao Tran, Vin Tran, and their good friend Diego Perez, living in the home of their parents, Peter Tran, the father, and Hua Nguyen, the mother, who is severely ill with cancer. The brothers are struggling to support their terminally ill mother with medication, so they've turned to illegal weapons manufacturing. They take semi-automatic weapons and modify them to fully automatic to maximize damage. The parents actually know this, and they are ashamed. They've even gone so far to go into the police and reporting it. However, what actually gave us the tip was a suspicious 911 caller.
What's your emergency?
Oh, yeah. I don't have one, but I think you need to send someone to 128 Windy Coast Drive in Kauai.
Sir, if you don't have an emergency, I'm gonna have to ask you to hang up.
Fine, but make sure you pass this through. Someone is modifying and selling illegal weapons through that address. 128 Windy Coast Drive in Kauai. You should send someone to check it out.
Can I take your name, please, sir?
No, just send someone to that address. That'll teach him.
Sir?
Oh, fuck.
This call is very questionable. A random man not wanting to give away his name, snitching on these boys. And the final line, "That'll teach him," tells us that this person has had an issue with these boys, and maybe something deeper is hiding. The story is devastating and complex on a moral scale, since the boys are trying to help the mother through the pain. However, going down a dishonorable path causes their family to be disgusted in these actions. If you get into a gunfight with the brothers, there's a chance that the parents will see this, as they wander around the house often. A true predicament. However, we are here to do our job. There aren't too many guns in this map. They hide very well, using cracks in the walls and crawling under shelves bookshelves to ambush or flank, with a lot of rooms to clear, and the stairs usually being a dangerous spot to climb due to how many rooms surround it. It's advisable to split teams and throw bangs on both sides. I've noticed that they spawn in different spots frequently, but there's always someone by a room above the stairs and in the basement waiting. The map itself sells well, as it's simply a normal house. It is challenging to see how far a family can step the line in their own code of morale. Upstairs in the attic you'll find where they manufacture these guns. In a bedroom you'll find a bag of cash overflowing, and on computers you'll see screens to buy gun parts. It's a quick mission, but once you think about it, it becomes one of the most wounding, depressing missions in the game. Once you complete it, you can find evidence in HQ, an old picture of these parents smiling. Something about it is heart-wrenching. If you flip it over, there's a message in Vietnamese. With a rough translation, it reads, "Children, never forget the stories of war and what we have endured to have a better life, away from violence. I hope that the measures will soon stop what they are doing. Your father does not want to see any more. We do not want you suffering and have to face prison." A final message, hammering in the detail that these parents knew what these boys were doing, and in their brain they thought they were doing a good deed, but despite that, the parents were ashamed. The mission which is the bane of my existence. S ranking and hard difficulty destroyed me on this. It is truly one of the most difficult maps in the game. We are breaching a postal service and a factory. It was manufacturing weapons for a gang named the Los Locos, the same people the Tran brothers were manufactured to, which leads to our prime goal, apprehend a Pfizer agent, which is the equivalent of FBI, Jack Adams, who has been aiding this operation. Pfizer want him back alive. Additionally, there are 2 civilians who are presumed to be working with Adams, but it started off a normal day at work for these people until they heard gunshots.
911, this call is being recorded. What is your emergency?
I'm inside the Los Sueños Postal Service in East Los Sueños, and near the airport. There's someone shooting here.
Okay, sir. What happened?
I'm an employee here, packaged quality assurance. I was on the conveyor line when someone started firing a gun near the front of the building. Then this kid came running out of nowhere. He was fucking leaking. I ran over to him and saw he had a gun, so I took off.
A kid? Sir, are there children on scene?
No, a kid, meaning a young guy. He was wearing all red, speaking in Spanish. I'm pretty sure he's dead. Oh shit! Hello? More guys with guns. They came through the warehouse just now. Fuck this, I'm out of here.
You have many entrances to go through. Main entrance which leads through the main room, back room, and leads to the factory. Or you can go around the left and flank around the outside. Additionally, you can go right into the staff room, which then leads into the factories. I appreciate the versatility of attack options in this map, because it sure did make me use them. There are a lot of guns on this map, usually donning body armor and ARs. Through the main room and back room, you may come across civilians and suspects. In my experience, these suspects surrender quite easily since they're caught off guard. Venturing through, you can then go left and go outside, or continue forward into the factory. Let's go left, in which you'll encounter a few guns outside. It can get a bit techie out here, with a lot of trolleys obscuring your vision, and the AI's aimbot really shows on this map. You may find yourself getting fired at without you knowing where from. Venturing further outside, you'll find quite a few suspects. It is also possible for the Pfizer agent to be located out here. I usually throw a flashbang over this truck to daze quite a few suspects, as this area is quite compact with a lot of aggressors, but also the door frame to the inside of the factory is open for people to fire at you whilst you're distracted. Out here there is a soft objective in a truck, a weapon cache, no doubt made by these people. Going inside, you'll enter a factory. Be very careful, as mentioned before, the AI has laser sights, which your human vision struggles to differentiate a box on a conveyor belt or a suspect. It'll be too late, since you'll be getting shot at by all angles. You can either go left, forward and right. If you go right, you'll find a Pfizer office, another possible spawn for Agent Adams. He will also fire at you, but if separated, he will surrender when dazed or outnumbered. Once you arrest him, you may recognize his voice.
Be fair to us, we'll be fair to you.
Yes, he is the one that called us on the Tran Boys. Now it all makes sense. Adams saw the Tran Boys as a threat to his production, since they are performing quite well. As an insecure man with a horrendous haircut, he snitched on them to us, which explains why he didn't identify himself and hung up abruptly, also with that weird cryptic message at the end. Now you can go through the factory, and as said before, there are a lot of gaps where people can shoot you from without you even knowing they were there. The environment is very tricky to navigate, but also identify. Once you've cleared that, you can enter the staff room, which may or may not not have some stragglers from previous gunfights, but also can have people spawn here. They like coming around from corners, so a riot shield or a flashbang would be pretty good, especially outside. I found Grease Palms more of a challenging operation rather than a map with deep lore. However, that is not the same for this next one. One of the most truly diabolical, disgraceful, nauseating level in the game. After taking down the distributor of the prolific ring, we know the suspect of the man profiting from it. Remember the name AV from Brixley Talent Time? The guy talking to Brixley about this, well, this is Amos Vol, a vile creature preying on the young. He is incredibly rich, which explains the house, but also the security he's packing called Bolton Security. They don black suits, with some wearing body armor, with submachine guns and pistols. While they look professional, they are really just some more corrupt guns, very expensive ones at that. Amos Vol is housing an 18th birthday party for his daughter, Janie Vol. She has all of her friends over, but some uninvited guests. What Janie doesn't know is what her father is up to. Amos Vol is an adult film producer, but by being linked to Brixley, we have a warrant for his arrest. Our objectives are to arrest Vol and find his office computer, along with bringing order to chaos and rescuing civilians. As we enter, there are two paths. However, I find it best to work top to bottom. Entering the master living room, you'll probably come across some of Bolton's security suits and civilians. These guys will shoot and pack a little heat, but the difficulty from this mission seems to be a bit more being outnumbered or shot through windows. You can get them to surrender fairly easy, as some of them say the lines are like,
I don't know anything. I'm just like you.
You may also encounter Vol's wife, Daniela Vol. Daniela is also a prolific who stars in many of Amos's films. She doesn't admit to knowing exactly what Amos gets up to, but she is adamant that he is a good man. She's usually found running around the back between the bathroom and the master bedroom. Now, if we look at the massive TV, we'll find a paused video of Daniela Vol. From the layout of the video and judging by Amos's career, it's most likely a but here's where it gets a bit techie. She looks very young here, and as you can see, there's a date which says the 2nd of the 23rd, 2011, which we can assume is the date of the video that it was recording on. However, if we look into Daniela Vol's briefing, we can see that she was born on February the 10th, 1994. If we do some calculations here, the age of Daniela Vol in this video would have been 17 years old, which is under the legal age of consent in California being 18 years old. In the bio it says she got married to Amos 10 years ago, and Daniela being in her late 20s to early 30s, it's easy to imagine the dynamic of this relationship, considering Amos Vol is in his late 30s and early 40s. It sets in focus how dirty this man is, and how he manipulates everybody he knows, most specifically his daughter, but she doesn't even know that yet. You'll find loads of posters for X-rated films made by Amos himself. In the master bedroom you'll find a lot of trophies, including this one I literally cannot show you, but if you move to the bed you'll find stains and cameras, with cocaine and alcohol on the drawers, no doubt related to the shoots with Amos and Daniela, and judging by the substances surrounding the bed, it's likely it was made via abuse of intoxication. But also on the bed we'll find prohibited videotapes of minors, displaying them on a bed like a trophy, as if he is proud of it like his other ones. A sick, deranged man whose story can make your blood boil. Going down the hall you'll find a bedroom, a gym and a downstairs. There may be enemies here, but down the stairs you must take care, as there may be someone at the bottom of the stairs, but also the massive escaping window on your right can have enemies aggro you, and if you're caught in the right spot, they can annihilate you. On the second hand, if you spot someone else first, then you can take out the threat without getting into much of a fight. The next room is also dangerous for similar reasons. Underneath, both left and right, and outside, by the windows, are all possible enemies to spawn and attack you from all sides. The first room along will bring you through a bedroom and a bar, and eventually into Amos's Vol's office. You may find the cretin himself in this room. He does have a pistol, he's an unarmored man, and you do need to take him alive for the mission complete. However, I wouldn't fault you for accidentally misfiring into his skull. On his desk you'll find his computer and a hard drive. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you what's on it at this point, but outside you'll find a pile of burning evidence. Who knows what else it was hiding.
Pick up, you fucking asshole. I'm in deep shit here and it's all your fault. They booked me and I need a lawyer. You got me into this, now you get me out.
Sweeping around the house, you'll come across many civilians who came to enjoy the birthday party, but also there'll be a lot of security downstairs. If you venture outside, you'll find a bunch of presents and stands celebrating, but you'll notice something a bit out of place. A poll asking for feet pictures at an 18-year-old birthday party. How nobody saw the signs of this is beyond me, but you'll also find a message on the bar saying you cannot legally drink if you're under 18. Legally, which is underlined, hinting that Amos will do it anyway, giving alcohol to underage teenagers. It should be noted again that Janie Vol has no idea what her dad is doing. Sweeping outside and downstairs, you'll find a staircase outside that goes down to a basement. It's dark and off-putting, with a distant red hue emanating the place. You'll find some enemies in here in each room, but the rooms themselves hold something much worse. I want you right now to think about the innocence that a child bears and hold that thought. You'll find crude out-of-place scribbles with chalks, like hopscotch, which is in a completely unconventional playground for a kid. And the room on the left will lead you into a room that makes your hair stand up. A red room teeming with pictures of children, similar to Brixley's, but this time it's on full show. A vast collection of images. It's sickening. All these kids being innocent, happy souls, now abused, and that chance for a healthy, happy life ripped out of their grasp. Entering the connected room on the end, you'll then come across a room, widescaping mirage of no other than Amos Vol's very own daughter, Janie Vol. A shrine with film, presumably with videos of Janie, and a bedroll, which he most likely pleasured himself on in this disgraceful, idolized room. She doesn't even know about this room, which only makes it worse, with messages on the wall like soft, innocent and virgin. Amos Vol, most bottom-feeding leeches and inconceivably evil vermin to walk the world of Los Sueños. But it doesn't end here. The room straight ahead holds a child-style bedroom with an abundance of candy, but on the next room over is a desolate, depressing room with stagnant air blooming its atmosphere. You'll notice a hole in the ground. Laid inside of it are numerous barrels. It is apparent that these barrels contain corpses, and judging by all the children clothes and toys on top of them, we can assume that these barrels do in fact contain children corpses, manipulated, abused and killed, dumped away with no say. Valley of the Dolls is that mission, where you finally understand how bad things have gotten. The fact that a man can stray this far gone with a family is absurd, and how there is a chain of command below him following in his footsteps. This level is curdling. I have never had a more visceral, cerebral reaction when playing a video game than I did when I entered the basement for the first time. Los Sueños is lost, and it cannot be recovered. Souls lost to the chaos, becoming the pinnacle of evil with no chance of redemption. This is the mission that you've most likely have heard of before even ever playing the game. The mission that started Ready or Not's controversy. Set in a community college, we have had many haunting calls from students from the college about shooters.
911, this call is being recorded. What is your emergency? What is your emergency?
I need help.
Can you tell me what's wrong?
I'm hiding. There's blood. So much blood.
Okay, I'm going to need you to stay calm. Do you know where you are?
No, they don't.
No, I mean, where are you?
Hiding in a cupboard. They came in and just started shooting.
Okay, that's good. Where's the cupboard?
In a classroom.
You're doing great. So you're at school. Which school?
What college? Please, come help me. I don't want to die.
I need you to stay calm. The police are on their way, okay? They are on their way. Stay where you are.
I don't want to. Please don't let me die.
Stay calm. Remain where you are. Is the shooter nearby?
I don't know. Don't make me look.
Ma'am, I'm not asking you to do anything of the sort. Stay where you are.
Oh, God.
Ma'am?
They're coming back.
Stay calm. I'm right here with you.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. No, please, no!
There are 4 of them, but they've also set up 2 propane bombs around the college. This mission's dynamic is a bit different than the previous missions. This one is against the clock. You have got a lot on your plate with not a lot of time to do so. You have 2 bombs to defuse with unique spawning locations on each run, with 4 shooters who will start shooting student hostages if you take too long. Ready or Not likes to throw new stuff at you with each operation, but this one is a huge jump. You must be quick on your feet and precise with your clearing, as checking the wrong room for too long could cost you and everyone else. And the layout of this level doesn't help you. With many hallways with sprawling classrooms, it can be overwhelming when you know you've only got a few more minutes left. Now from the outside and the inside, you may recognize some architectural similarities with the Columbine High School, with the similar circular glass windows to the insides all usher that uncanny feel of the Columbine High School. It's clear Void took inspiration from the horrible event to craft this map, and it really gives off a haunting feel to it, with blood trails across the holes, the scrambling bags left on chairs, with the books split across the ground as they ran for their lives. The mission really has a unique and harrowing feel to it. Upon entry, you may find a main hall with an injured security guard who has been shot. Lucky to be alive, I'd say. There are a lot of classrooms that you'll come across, with 2 wings of the school, an upstairs and a downstairs with an outside, so you'll also have a lot of ground to cover. Suspects should be your first priority, as they start shooting quicker than it takes for the bombs to explode. They can spawn in many different classrooms and halls, but after a few runs you'll notice their spawn points, like outside the lecture halls, any classrooms, by the kitchen, hallways, or even by the staircase. Once you encounter them, you'll notice they're quite well armed, prepared heavily for the situation, with fully automatic rifles and body armor. Looking at the shooters, you may also notice that the shooter's getup is once again reminiscent of the Columbine massacre, sporting backwards caps, vests, short sleeved tops, and cargo jeans, once again building the uncomfortable feeling Elephant gives us. You'll find so many students who are fearing for their lives, and every few rooms you'll come across them. It adds a lot seeing these victims run around whilst active shooters are still at large. It adds an element of panic, but leaving the civilians till last I would recommend, as they'll be in danger if the suspects remain, and such is the bomb. There are 2 propane bombs, an improvised explosive usually made from easy access items from a supermarket, which is quite scary to think about. Similarly to the suspects, they spawn in different locations on each run. I would disarm the bombs after the suspects, as it has a longer grace period than the suspects do. However, it can be a challenge to find the bombs in time, especially for the first time. Unfortunately, this is mostly trial and error. Glow sticks are fantastic for this map, as you can put them down in rooms cleared, so you don't waste precious time looking at pre-used rooms. The map is both a horrifying concept, but also a mortifying reality, merging real-world problems and virtual chaos. It is Ready or Not specialty. The map feels grim to venture. With all the blood and ramble classrooms, you can't help but feel awful. It's artfully done for a map to make you feel like this. The college feels real, with all these little details making it feel like a ghastly place to be in. But we learn a lesson. Los Sueños hasn't just corrupted the minds of adults, but also the youth are being purged by evil as well. Young souls lost to corruption. We move to the Mexican border to a stash house. Remaining members of the Los Locos gang are trying to escape the US. The same guys from Grease Palms and End of the Earth. A gang with affiliation with the Mexican cartel. There are 2 levels in this map. The outside ground floor, where you'll find 2 barns and a house. Here you'll come across civilians. These gangs are probably coyotes, helping smuggle Mexican migrants across the border. In the house you'll potentially come across some more Los Locos by a strange door that's been dug in. Room along you'll find a dedicated shrine to Virgin Mary. And on the right, a table of Mexican passports, reinforcing the Los Locos being coyotes. Now that door I mentioned, entering it will bring you down to a very, very large dug tunnel. This is where the Los Locos are planning to escape through. Here's where you'll come across most of the suspects. It's close combat with narrow halls, so canted sight and a competent close combat gun will be very good here, checking each corner as you go. They have a standard morale, so they can give up normally, but in numbers they are quite dangerous, using automatic rifles and pistols. Paths split off but meet at the same point, and on the left you'll find ancient looking walls with old drawings. Getting yourself through the vast tunnels would be fairly challenging, as there are a lot of suspects, but once you get through the final room it's unnatural looking. Jagged rocks on the ceiling piercing downwards. A wild desolate cave with more Los Locos down here hiding behind cover, which makes a change now. It's a bit more range fighting. Once you clear them out, you'll find a lake at the end with an exfiltration boat, alongside guns and other goods. This is where they've been trafficking goods and people. However, on the docks you'll see 2 glows. You may think they're lights, but no, they blinked. What is this creature? We don't know. If you want to get philosophical, it could be the demons of Los Sueños influencing the people, stalking and watching us doing from afar. But I guess we'll never know.